Bullshit.
It's the No Bullshit Marketing Show. I'm Dave Mastovich. Today I'm diving right into No Bullshit Marketing opportunity number 2 from my new book. It's about separating but aligning two powerful disciplines, marketing and sales. Too many small and mid-sized companies lump them together and they'll say they have a VP of sales and marketing. What that means is they have a VP of sales and some other stuff when we get around to it. Here's the reality. Marketing and sales are two separate yet equally important disciplines. Both are critical, both are complex, both require leadership to drive alignment. Now, there are a number of small and mid-sized leaders who lump them together and think that sales and marketing is this discipline. It's called sales and marketing. They tend to think if they've got a closer on the sales team and a good pitch deck, they got their sales and marketing moving along. They don't. Other leaders think that marketing is a separate piece of content or a campaign, like a blog post, a video, a paid ad, a social media clip, an email drip. Those aren't strategy, that's execution. And when you take marketing down to the tactical level, you miss the opportunity for growth through marketing. And that's a recipe for misalignment and missed revenue because you end up pushing primarily bottom of the funnel activities and you miss opportunities to create demand. This means you end up working harder for smaller results. Now, my personal bias, where I've seen the most success happen, is when you have a strong marketing leader who drives these two powerful disciplines to get alignment. Because good marketing leads to good sales. But I'm a realist. I know that most small and mid-sized businesses out there aren't there yet. They aren't able to quite do that yet. So the real opportunity, the one you can act on today, is to recognize that marketing and sales are two separate yet equally important disciplines. They need to be treated with equal respect, and you need to be able to align them through leadership. Give each its due, and your business will grow. How? Well, let's go back to my definition of marketing from the book. It starts with defining who you want to reach and influence, but then it's finding out what your customers want by asking them and listening, developing it or tweaking what you already have so you can give them what they want, when and where they want it, at a price they're willing to pay, and then tell them about it again and again. Notice that last part, the tell them about it again and again, is just a fraction of the entire definition. When you realize that the tell them about it again and again is just a fraction of the entire definition, that's when you can begin to leverage real marketing to drive revenue growth, sales growth, profitability, enterprise value, talent acquisition growth, all of that stuff. Once you realize that the telling them about it again and again is only a fraction of what real marketing is, that you have to do the hard work and the heavy lifting on the front end to clearly define those right fit target customers, those right fit target markets. Because I'm going to get into what a customer is. It's not just a paying customer. Find out what they want by asking and listening, developing it and tweaking it, what you already have, so you can give it to them when and where they want it at a price they're willing to pay, and then tell them about it again and again. Once you realize and live by this, your marketing will make more of an impact because marketing is one to many. Sure, it strives to drill down as small of a piece of pie as possible, but marketing starts out as one to many. Sales is one to one. Marketing is customer experience driven. Sales is relationship driven. Marketing reaches and persuades. Sales persuades and closes. Marketing plays the long game. Doesn't mean they ignore the short game, but they play the long term. Sales is focused on the short term. Doesn't mean they ignore the long term, but they really are focused on the short term, that week, that month, that quarter. Marketing pulls people in. Sales pushes out to go talk to people. They complement each other. They rely on each other. They've got to be aligned. And to get that alignment, you have to know these things that I'm saying. You have to know this one, that marketing is strategic and sales is tactical. Now, that does not mean that marketing doesn't do tactical work. It does not mean that sales can't be strategic. No, I know that people tend to get hung up on stuff like that. But the reality is, what's your first basis, your main piece of what you do? Marketing is primarily starts out strategic, does some tactics. Sales starts out tactic, thinks about some strategy. You've got to know that. If you're going to be the person leading those functions to alignment, you've got to understand that whether you're the CEO or whether you're the person the CEO puts in charge of these two functions. Marketing is an effectiveness function. Sales is an efficiency function. If you don't know that and you try to align these two functions, these two powerful disciplines, you're going to run into trouble. You're going to lose one or the other if you don't manage an effectiveness function in an effectiveness leadership style and management style, and an efficiency function in an efficiency management style. So those are where the companies go wrong. They don't treat these as two intentional disciplines, two different disciplines, two different mindsets that have to be aligned. So that is where we come to this no bullshit marketing opportunity number 2 that I reference in the book. But I like to bring data to support ideas. And here's what the data says. According to Gartner, 77% of B2B buyers said that their most recent purchase was too complex. 77% of B2B buyers said their most recent purchase was too complex. That's what happens when marketing and sales aren't aligned. You confuse your customer, you stall the sale, you lose momentum. Harvard Business Review reports that companies with strong marketing and sales alignment achieve 208% more revenue from marketing efforts. I want to repeat that. Harvard Business Review reports that companies with strong marketing and sales alignment achieve 208% more revenue from their marketing efforts. So here's how to know if you're not aligned. First one is you don't have clearly defined and drilled down target markets. But you do have a vague idea of what your ideal customer looks like or what you think your ideal customer is. But you don't have defined, drilled down, specific target markets. You have a vague idea of your ideal customer. Second one is your marketing team is focused on what I call vanity metrics. They're looking at clicks and impressions and things like this, but no one really knows what's converting and what's not. Your sales team goes it alone with respect to marketing until they feel they need something. They need something to look better. They need something produced to make it look creative, as opposed to sales working with marketing from the beginning when they're talking about the overall goals, what they're trying to achieve, and have marketing give their input on how to talk to those prospects and how to upsell existing customers. And the next one is you can't tie messaging back to revenue, referrals, retention of employees, acquisition of employees. You can't tie messaging back to any of these results. That's when you know that you don't have sales and marketing aligned. And when those two statistics, one from Gartner and one from Harvard Business Review, start to take their toll on you and your company. So instead of ambiguity and lack of alignment, drive revenue growth with a systematic approach. Let's bring a real-life example to that systematic approach. We work with a mid-sized company that when they came to us, they said they were doing digital. And what that meant in their eyes was that they were spending money on ads, SEO, blog posts, email drips, all of it. But it wasn't working. So the sales team was frustrated. Leadership lost trust in marketing. Why? Because none of it was connected. There was no strategic target market segmentation, no understanding of what the customers wanted and what they were thinking, what they were feeling. There was no consistent messaging built by and for each of the target markets. No consistent messaging built by and for each of the target markets. You build it by and for them when you talk to them and when you listen and when you study them. So it was just a bunch of parts in motion. Once we defined the 6 right fit target markets that mattered for their situation, and once we did the voice of the customer research, and that led to creating their big idea and their storytelling pillars, once we aligned marketing and sales, the pipeline grew. And so did trust internally. You too can maximize this systematic approach that leads to alignment of your marketing and sales teams. And here are the steps. The first step is defining your 6 right fit target markets that matter for your specific situation based on your data, your instincts, your market intel, your competitive intel. So what are the 6 right fit target markets that matter? The first is your current customers, and you have data on them. You have characteristics and attributes about your current customers. There are things you haven't realized because you haven't studied the data in the way that marketers do to know specific pieces about those target markets and be able to drill them down with specific characteristics or attributes. Because that's what will then enable you to better define the second target market is potential clients or customers. The third target market is current employees. You know about them. You have data on them. You know what your peak performers look like, what their characteristics and attributes are. You know what your mid-level, mid-performing employees are like with characteristics and attributes. And you know what the people that don't succeed, that are gone or are not producing, what are their characteristics and attributes. So that enables you to be able to take and define the fourth target market, which is prospective employees. The fifth of the 6 right fit target markets ties to current referral sources or centers of influence. I will say most companies that we deal with and most companies in the world don't have a systematic approach to referral source marketing. So they don't have a lot of data on their referral sources and centers of influence, but they do have their instincts. And so that can lead to helping define the 6th target market, which is who are the people that could become referral sources and centers of influence. So that's all part of step 1 in this systematic approach. That leads to step 2, which is gathering insights from those target markets so you get real voice of the customer. Earlier I said I would define customer because your customer is not just customers or clients who can buy from you. Your customers include your employees. And your customers include referral sources, centers of influence, other key stakeholders. You need to talk to all of them as part of your voice of the customer. Because once you gather insights systematically through the voice of the customer, and you combine that with the data you're analyzing about your current clients, your current employees, and your current referral sources or centers of influence, you can now begin to align marketing and sales because you're talking each other's language. So you can now execute on both disciplines with clarity and consistency. And that's how you drive pipeline growth. That's how you drive revenue growth. That's how you increase referrals. That's how you grow for the long haul. If you've ever said, we need to get the word out about ourselves. We need to get our name out there. Or, why isn't our marketing person delivering results? Or why isn't our marketing team delivering results? Or, we need more leads. We need more leads. Nothing seems to be working. If you've said any or all of those, you might be misperceiving things because it's not like you have a people problem necessarily, and you probably don't have a platform problem, but you do likely have a strategy problem. You're not aligning marketing and sales. When you say those phrases, you're not aligning marketing and sales. You're not starting with a go-to-market strategy that drives a growth marketing plan and building from there. But you can fix that. Begin with a real marketing strategy as I've described today, and let it fuel your storytelling, your sales efforts, your recruiting of talent, your revenue. And if you haven't grabbed a copy yet of No Bullshit Marketing, 17 Contrarian Ways to Drive Referrals, grab one today, anywhere you buy books, Amazon, anywhere else. This episode came directly from Chapter 3. It's packed with insights like this one and other ones that you can implement and act on immediately. Thanks for listening. No bullshit, just growth.
Bullshit.